So I was going to come out here this morning and just have my tea and eat some mango. And then I received a phone call at 8:30 this morning. A coworker called me up and was complaining that I said something to somebody about her, basically. I asked what I said. There was no response. That I just couldn't keep my big mouth shut. I rarely talk to anybody at work. There's two people that I may talk to. And I reached out to both of them. They said nothing. And when I do talk about this person to anybody, it's always good. There's only like one thing I say that's, I can see where she might have taken it the wrong way. But either way, the whole video just made me think about like the peace that I have out here and how it can be disrupted. And the only solution to that is really to just not talk to or deal with anybody. I know it sounds crazy. My family, obviously, my brother, my sister, my mom and my cousin are the only family members that I really keep in touch with and talk to maybe on a weekly basis. But the workplace, this would not have been possible when I was younger. But what I've realized as I've gotten older, the workplace is one place you don't want to have friends. It's just too easy to jeopardize your job if that friendship goes wrong. I've seen it happen. So when it comes to work, I realized and I decided that I'm just no longer going to, and I don't have that many friends there, but I do talk to people, but I'm going to learn to keep my mouth shut. And that's hard for me because I like to talk. That's why I like shooting these videos. But at the end of the day, I got to learn to just keep my mouth shut. This person never told me what I said, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, I do talk at work and anything that I say can be taken the wrong way. And sometimes your job can be jeopardized for something like that. So the workplace, I'm just no longer going to have any type of social interaction. Of course, I'm going to say hi to people. I'm going to work with them. And this is something I would have done when I was young. And then, so that's the workplace. But in general, I think I'm finally at peace out here. And I don't want it disturbed at all. I had friends that I was talking to and helping them with their relationships. I really don't feel like doing that anymore, to be honest. Not that I'm cutting these people off. I still may have bro day every once in a while. Maybe get the guys together. It definitely won't be on a monthly basis. Maybe twice a year I'll try to get the fellas together. But besides that, complete isolation is just the best way at my age. One of the differences when you're younger, especially when I was younger, in my 30s and early 40s, I had a ton of friends. So if I had a problem with one of my friends or we had a disagreement, I had someone else to go out with or someone else to hang out with or someone else to talk to. You have a whole bunch of friends, so it really doesn't matter. Yes, they're all important, but at the end of the day, hey, you and one person aren't getting along, you have like all these other people to hang out with. When it comes to, I guess, getting older, I don't have as many friends. So if I have a falling out with a friend, it hits differently because, hey, that might be someone that I talk to every week. Someone that I actually confide in and trust. So it hits harder when you lose a friend or someone does you wrong at an older age. And the way I said to alleviate all that is just complete, I wouldn't say isolation from everybody. I guess that's the word I use or can use, isolation. I got to isolate myself from everybody. And it doesn't bother me. I used to be bothered when I was younger and didn't go out or didn't get to see people or go to the club. Now I'm kind of fine out here, to be honest. I got a camping trip coming up with a buddy, and that's a different situation. Like I said, it's not that I'm not going to have friends, but for the most part, I don't need to get involved in someone else's life. I don't need them to get involved in my life. I need to learn to keep my personal stuff to myself, and I've been doing a lot better because I had one person in my life for 6 years. They knew everything about me. Now, if I have to talk to somebody about myself or something's going on, I don't have that person, and I'm learning to work with it and deal with it by myself. I don't need to basically vent and get it off my chest. And so I'm at peace with that. So yeah, complete isolation. Like I said, this is only when you get older. I think when you're younger, you still need it. You're still growing. You're still learning. You still need to interact with people to understand them. But when you get older, and this may apply to younger people as well, but when I get, now that I'm older, I just don't feel the need for it. Going on dates and meeting people online. I was doing that for a while now, but I'm done with that. I think I was talking to someone a couple weeks ago, but I just didn't really have any interest in pursuing it. They didn't seem that interested. And then when someone does hit me up on a dating site, you know, like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna completely isolate myself. I'm not trying to meet someone new, but so far I just haven't had the interest. And like I said, be careful. 50 plus something years old, with your job especially, there's just no need to have friends. Hi, bye, and that's it. And a lot of people already know this. I'm just learning this now because I never learned the lesson earlier. I worked for myself for the first 30 years, or for my dad's company. So I never worked in a workplace where there were drama, where there were rumors. I never had that experience. Last time I experienced that was in college. So now that I've actually had a job working for someone else for 5 years, which is the longest I've ever worked for anyone else, now I understand it. I wish I would have learned this earlier, but like I said, better late than never. And I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, just isolating myself, not completely cutting out all my friends, but I'm not even gonna try to involve myself in their issues. If they call me, want to talk to me, I'm just gonna listen. I'm not even gonna give my advice anymore. And I find myself being in a lot more peace just thinking that. And like I said, I've been slowly doing it, cutting my friends back and not really calling people as much as I used to. And I've noticed it's just brought me a lot more peace. So maybe someone else needs to go out there and do the same thing. I know isolation, it sounds like a bad thing. And I used to hate it. I was like, how can you be by yourself and not want to be around people? Because eventually you find peace as long as you have things to keep you occupied. Like right now, I'm about to go to the gym, about to go find a new lake. I think there's a lake near the gym that I haven't been to yet. And I may go to the range after that. But this is my day before I go back to work, so I'm gonna relax. But that phone call at 8:30 this morning disrupted my peace. And I allowed that because I allowed someone into my life, and that mistake will not be made again. Thanks for watching, guys.